Ducked off low key, yeah, you know me. Kickin' with Tyree, hit it 3 like Kyrie.
Well, thank you for having me. My name's Niki Harman, and I'm a film programmer, curator, creative producer, artist. And this year at South by Southwest, I'm bringing a work called Love Lost Hotline. My work centers mostly around how we can feel cinema, like immersive film projects where people can have a kind of visceral experience with film.
What was the spark for this project for you?
So the spark was actually a long time ago. It was 2020, and I was doing an event called Heartbreakers Ball. So it was just before the pandemic happened. It was on Valentine's Day, and it was a kind of like Lynchian ball for the heartbroken, where we had like performance artists and a band, and You Were Never Really My Baby cocktail. So everyone was kind of like decked out like a kind of American prom, but weirder, you know? And so I really have always wanted to do a project where I'm archiving people's stories in some way. And so one of the kind of ideas was, let's get people to call and leave a message as a kind of marketing thing. But it was only live for a couple of days. And so since then, I'd really wanted to kind of do it as a standalone project. And then last year, the BFI in the UK, the British Film Institute, supports filmmaking and supports film watching as well. So film exhibition. And they have kind of genre seasons that are across kind of independent cinemas in the UK. And they had one called Too Much, Melodrama on Film. So I thought this will be a perfect kind of touring project for that. So the BFI Southwest, Thai there, and a cinema in Nottingham, an independent cinema called Broadway, they kind of co-commissioned it. So our little booth went around kind of like 7 venues where people just picked up the phone and left a message to their lost love. And so this in Texas, in South by Southwest, is that, but it's also part of another event that we did called Sleepwalk With Me, about kind of dreams and the unconscious and cinema. They both exist in the same world. So with the format of South by Southwest, we managed to kind of merge them together, and we're presenting a whole new work.
I saw it's a part of the XR program.
Yeah.
And, so what made you want to do something that was like this, you know, lived experience almost? I'm trying to put it in the right wording. Like, what made you want to make it almost VR-like, or them live in this world and almost like detach and go in and to the booth? What made you use that technology?
I suppose I wanted to, so I specialize in immersive film. So I use a lot of technology and different mediums and formats to kind of do the work. Okay. And I suppose with this one, I really wanted to kind of deepen the feeling of kind of dreams, the unconscious, making it feel cinematic. And the idea that people, so in this one, people have a curated list of other people's calls that they listen to, and they're specially picked for that person based on some answers of some answers that they give us of questions during the onboarding period. So I really wanted that like moment of intimacy between two human beings to then go through this kind of technology to kind of get the experience. But I suppose I've been working with various different technologies as part of my practice for quite a long time. But I wanted it to be, this version to be more, people could meditate in the idea that they've just left a message themselves, and that they're in amongst others that have also left a message. So people feel that their story and the story of other people, like that we're somehow tied through those stories. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So participants leave almost confessions for lost or imagined love.
Yeah.
What surprised you the most about what people are willing to share?
Oh, what surprised me? I think sometimes, like, it never surprises me when people are like willing to be vulnerable or like super personal, because we've done a few. Like I mentioned, the previous event that's part of the Same World Sleepwalk with me, people were really quick because they were in a certain environment to be vulnerable, to be honest, and that was really beautiful. I think the thing that surprises me is how many people, or maybe it's not surprising, I don't know, how many people hold on to things for years, or maybe hold on is not the right word, but it's I think a surprise what, well, it's not, because I'm a human being too, but it's a surprise what we let go of and what we hold on to. You know, it's not always the big thing that kind of lets our mind wander. And sometimes it's decades. People are talking about loves they lost decades ago. But that, I suppose, is in the realm of romantic love, but people are talking about all kinds. We have someone talking about a vintage dress that they never got to wear in New Orleans. Sometimes they're talking about their family members. You know, our family members are often our first heartbreak for a lot of us, you know. Sometimes it's missed opportunity. People talk about like losing themselves in some way. That's a lost love. Sorry, that's my cat. She does this every single time I'm on a Zoom, so you just have to ignore her and know that she's okay. Sorry, I can't shut the door on her. She'll get even worse. Yeah.
How did you create a safe space for people? Like, what was the goal for you, just to create a safe space for people to be emotionally vulnerable and honest?
So I think it was in the aesthetic of the booth, and then we're going to expand on that at South by Southwest, because we've got a whole 20-foot by 20-foot booth as well as the phone booths. But so we were really considered in the aesthetic of how the booth was going to be built. Like, it felt very nostalgic. You know, the wood kind of was supposed to look like a 1970s boardroom or something. There was a kind of light box, like, so all those things kind of make people feel nostalgic. The paint in the booth was kind of like a dark cherry red to make you feel kind of cocooned, and like a thick red carpet. And then there was signage from Lost Love Hotline, kind of taking them through the paces of what they should be doing. So picking up the phone, dialing the phone. And obviously some of our guests who are much younger have never used a kind of dial phone before. So instructions on that, we discovered that. I didn't even think about that. But you know, so instructions on that. And everything is signed as stranger, because they are kind of confessing to a stranger. So I think and the lighting was really dim as well. So all of that, I suppose there's like notes, like nostalgic notes. And a lot of those nostalgic notes aren't nostalgia for your own experience. It's not even nostalgia for my own experience. It's the stuff you see in cinema, you know. A lot of the references were Hitchcock, Douglas Sirk, David Lynch, you know, so a lot of it is that kind of comfort and with the cinematic reference. So I think those are the things that that I tried to do, so people kind of not only felt safe and comfortable, but felt like they were in a realm that was cinematic, that was they were going to tell us about their lost love, but it was going to be held in reverence, you know. It was going to be like what they were telling us we're taking seriously. It's cinematic because it is, you know.
Yeah. You just describe it as like tech-driven intimacy in a way. How did you ensure that the tech would enhance the connection rather than distance it from the participants?
Mm, I think really thinking through what was tech and what was analog. So for example, when we were building or like planning the South by Southwest version, you know, there was kind of like early discussions about doing onboarding on an iPad. So the three questions that we ask audience members before they go into the actual phone booth. And I was really adamant, that was just a suggestion, and I was really adamant I didn't want that. That bit had to be personal. That had to be about two human beings speaking to each other and looking at each other. And then the tech had to come in to so they were having the experience, and the sound and the lighting is kind of happening to them when they're in the phone booth without interference from another person in there. So that felt like a very singular experience for them.
What does it mean to let go to you? Because it feels like this project is about, you know, letting go and moving on from certain, you know, things that might be holding you back.
Yeah.
What does it mean to let go for you?
Oh, such a good question. I'm not sure. Once I think on that, what does it mean to you? Do you know the answer?
Letting go to me is just being okay with what the situation is today, you know, and you don't have to necessarily be over it, but you have to let go and continue living your life, you know,
Yeah.
let go of the situation. And say if you lost a loved one, you have to be able to let go and understand that they have passed, they have moved on, like, you know, moved on to the next life if that's what you believe in. And you have to be able to just let go of that feeling of, you know, the feeling of like lost, you know, you have to be able to move on past it. You don't have to get over it. You have to be able to let go and live your life. You know, that's how I think about letting go.
Yeah. That's such an interesting take. That reminds me of something that Nick Cave said. Did you see the documentary they did after Nick and Susie lost their son Arthur? Do you you know the musician Nick Cave?
No, I thought you said Nick Cage. And,
Okay. I don't know what he said
so
about it. Who knows?
I was like, oh, I don't think he would. I didn't
Yeah,
never thought he would do something like that.
yeah. No, Nick Cave, like he's an amazing musician and writer, and check him out. He's got like he's incredible. But they made a documentary. His teenage son died in an accident, and they made a documentary about the album afterwards. And he said something, unless I'm remembering it wrong, he said something about like sometimes like this point being like an elastic band, and like you pull out of it, but once you let go, everyone will revert back to that point. Like, so you can still kind of exist and you can still expand, but I don't know. It's worth having a look at that documentary, because yeah, it's amazing, like reflection on grief. But for me, I guess I think sometimes it's not letting go. I think sometimes concentrating on using it can mean that you let go as a side effect. You know, like I heard someone say once, never waste a good divorce. And I heard it not long after I was going through that. And it's really true. It's like use every part of the carcass, you know, boil the bones, use the skin, like use it. And then by using it, that allows you to kind of let go, because all of a sudden you just used it up and it doesn't have the weight that it used to. And some people don't want to let go, right? Some people, those like regrets or it keeps them warm at night. sometimes. People are
Yeah.
complicated.
It's those type of people who are like, still in love with their ex-girlfriend and have had from freshman year of high school or something. So,
Yeah, there's
it's
more of that.
yeah, and it's like I said, it's hard to let go, and it doesn't mean you have to get over it. You don't have to, like you don't have like the pain still can be there, but you have to like mentally be able to move on, and like live
Definitely.
your life and
Yeah,
explore new avenues, explore new love, explore different things for yourself. Do you think
definitely.
this is a piece about closure, or is it about accepting that some things just you'll never get over, you'll never resolve some things,
Think some things you don't get over, and I
Mhm.
think some things you unexpectedly get over without even realizing it. But I think this specifically isn't like my concern with our callers is almost like it's none of my business if they get over it or they heal, whatever that means, or they move on. It's more, you know, when I think you're saying about your friend who's like in love with their freshman girlfriends. Um, there's something about how we see love and romantic relationships, and we can't not see it through this lens of like films and TV and stories and kind of culture, right? Music. And sometimes because we see it through that lens, we can only see it in a certain way. And therefore this person, was the love of my life or what have you. But I think we can love in such dramatic ways, but quite often normal life doesn't afford us that drama.
Mm.
Usually, like, I'm sure your friend might run into his ex-girlfriend at Christmas when he's home for the holidays, or and just has to be normal and polite. Like, I think, we don't all get our moment in the rain screaming at someone.
Yeah.
So this, more than giving someone closure, is more people walk around with like grief and loss and desire and all these things that don't get their kind of moment. So it's more about holding their moment. They get a chance to confess, and holding that moment in reverence and archiving it and keeping it safe amongst others. So I think I just want to hold those moments in reverence more than be concerned with what they need to do with it, because I don't know, who knows? I don't know what I need to do with mine. But I do know they're important, and I know I'm really grateful every time somebody sends one.
That's beautiful. You're creating a space for expression, you aren't necessarily in charge of what happens afterwards or for them in that moment, but you're giving them a choice to express themselves, why do you feel like South by Southwest is a perfect place for this project for you?
Well, I mean, I've never actually been to South by Southwest. I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to have work there. So many filmmakers that I admire have had their early work there, like Dupas Brothers and Lena Dunham and Joe Swanberg, who I think's there this year. So that kind of like independent, weird vibe that they have. But then also because they mash like film and music and culture all together, and that's always been my practice too, and technology all together, and that's always been my practice too. Like I'll use music and film and technology and performance art, and like it's all kind of like layered onto each other, and that's what they have as well. So it does seem like a really perfect fit. I'm really really excited to be going, really grateful to have been chosen.
Yeah, it's such a wild festival just because of how much is going on in this like 6 days.
How many times have you been?
I've only been a couple times, but not as like a participant or in the capacity that I am today, it's just been like me walking around and seeing what's going on, maybe going to a film, or it was pre-pandemic, so I have no idea what it might be like today.
What's your tips? What are the main tips, do you think? I've been told wear comfortable shoes.
Wear comfortable shoes. Be ready to be walking around all day. You have a project, so you'll most likely be near that for the most part while it's open.
That's right.
But afterwards, make sure you hit a film, make sure you go to some performances.
Yeah.
I think the first night is Lola Young, and
that's the
I think
first
I want to go
film.
to that one.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the first performance, like musical performance, because it's also like a block party too. So there's going to be a ton of people on this one street, a bunch of performing artists, up and down the street. So, just experience it for a little bit, Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the whole thing. I tried to book some stuff that was kind of around our installation. Mm-hmm. There's an Alex Prager film. Do you know the photographer Alex Prager? I don't know if I'm not pronouncing it properly. She's got a film there. I can't remember what it's called. She's amazing. She's
I can't remember the scene though.
Yeah, like I can't remember what the film is. Cinematographer is Lowell Crawley, and she's like one of my favorite photographers. And then I checked the details, and my favorite cinematographer working today is Lowell Crawley, and he's doing the cinematography. And I was just like, I'm gonna have to sneak away from my booth just for that screening because it's not on in the evenings. So and Joe Swanberg's film, and I can't wait to listen to some music like British Underground, who is a supporter of this, and they've got like a jazz showcase which I'm excited for.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Actually, I love jazz, so
I love jazz.
Have to check that out. There's a couple music shows that I'm 1000% going to.
Which ones?
There's the Lola Young one. Then there's a showcase.
Lola Young's playing?
Yeah, she's the first night. So it's like, I think she's the headliner of the first night. So
okay.
And then there's another one there's a couple just spread out. So I'll probably end up at a show every night, but we'll see.
I think we will. I think that's the plan. I think we'll close the booth at 6. The XR kind of work finishes at 6, and then we've got a few hours every night. But definitely end up some music. And looking through the music, a lot of it I've never heard of, which is really exciting because like get to like learn, find more like new bands, and I'm so excited.
A couple of my friends are doing some showcases in South by. So I extended my trip because they were on the date that I was leaving, and I was like, okay, I'll like move my flight around. So I'm
What's
going.
Your friend's
they're
name?
on the 17. Nilix now, and then his name's Wave Chappelle. So they're doing a show together, and I think another one's name is Social Sig. They're all from my city, so
they're all from Wisconsin.
Yep.
No, Minnesota.
I'm from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. I thought you said Wisconsin. Yeah, because I was thinking Wisconsin Death Trip. Have you seen that documentary?
Yeah.
Okay. I've written them down. I'll add those to my like favorites on the app.
It's like the festival itself. It's like a mixture of. I'm trying to think how to say. It's a mixture of Sundance. It's a mixture of that, but also I don't know if you've ever been to like Lollapalooza before, or we have Summerfest. We have a festival called Summerfest where there's just a lot of stages. So and all the bars participate. So the bars will all have musical acts going on at night. Great. And it's just a ton of people though. It's tons of people. So sometimes it's better to just be walking around.
Yeah.
But because I'm guessing you have like the filmmaker pass, and so you'll probably be able to get into most of the showings and or the showcases and all that stuff. So that should be fun. I'm just gonna close out for you before we hit the 30-minute mark. My last question for you would be, if you could leave a message in the booth today, what would it say?
I've left a bunch of messages in the booth. Today, probably my mind's gone blank. Maybe today would be my sister. I haven't hung out with her just one-on-one for ages. So I'm like feeling really nostalgic for when we used to hang out all the time and lived in the same area. So she's probably my lost love at the moment. Yeah, my little sister. That's today. But yeah, I've left a bunch of messages.
I love that. I want to say thank you for kicking it with me. What would I say today? I'd probably say one for my brother as well. You know, I lost my brother probably like 7 years ago, and a similar thing. Like, it's been a while. I don't feel like I've, I missed the energy that he had. So I'd say probably something to him today. So
say something to him. Well, you can call up. The number is on our Instagram whenever you like. I'd be happy to hear from you. But thanks for sharing that.
That's lovely. I want to thank you for kicking it with me.
Ducked off low key, yeah, you know me. Kick it with Tyree, hit it 3 like Kyrie.